The battle for Altair lasted only 4 hours. When it ended, the Zephyrian defense fleet was completely destroyed. Burning alien ships drifted through space, while human vessels moved toward the planet like unstoppable angels of war. Governor Kralleneth watched from his command bunker as human landing craft descended through the atmosphere. His hands shook as he tried to contact other Zephyrian worlds for help. The communication channels were silent. Human ships had jammed every signal going in or out of the system. "Sir, they are targeting our defense platforms with surgical precision," reported his tactical officer. "They are not hitting civilian areas." "At all. Impossible," Kralleneth muttered. "No species is that accurate during orbital bombardment." But the humans were proving him wrong. Their weapons struck military targets with perfect accuracy, while leaving civilian buildings untouched. It was as if they knew exactly where every alien soldier was hiding. Commander Sarah Blake led the orbital assault from her command ship. Her tactical displays showed detailed maps of every city on the planet. The maps had been created by human resistance fighters who had spent decades gathering intelligence. "Strike Team Alpha, take the spaceport," Blake ordered. "Strike Team Beta, secure the communication center. Strike Team Gamma, free the labor camps on the southern continent." The human landing forces moved with the precision of a surgical operation. They had trained for this mission for years, studying every building and every street in the Zephyrian cities Dot and Labor Camp 7. 10,000 human slaves worked in the deep mines that extracted rare metals from the planet's core. They had never seen sunlight. Their children had been born in darkness and would die in darkness. Marcus Webb was 43 years old and had worked in the mines since he was 12. His hands were scarred from handling mining equipment, and his lungs were damaged from breathing poisonous air. He had given up hope of ever seeing freedom. Then the explosions began above ground. "What is happening up there?" asked Jennifer Stone, a young woman who worked beside Marcus in the mine shafts. "Another revolt, probably," Marcus replied sadly. "The guards will put it down like they always do." But this time was different. The explosions grew louder and closer. Then the mine's power systems went out, plunging the underground complex into complete darkness. Emergency lights flickered on as confused voices echoed through the tunnels. The human slaves huddled together, afraid of what might be happening above them. Then they heard the sound of human voices speaking English. "This is Lieutenant Colonel Chris Adams of the Human Liberation Forces," came a voice over the mine's communication system. "All human civilians move to the main tunnel immediately. You are being liberated." Marcus Webb dropped his mining tools and stared at the speaker on the tunnel wall. He had not heard English spoken by a free human in over 30 years. "That cannot be real," Jennifer whispered. "Humans do not have armies." "Follow me," Marcus said, his voice shaking with emotion. "I want to see if this is a dream." 10,000 human slaves moved through the dark tunnels toward the main shaft. As they climbed toward the surface, they began to see light. Real sunlight from the surface world they had never been allowed to visit. When Marcus Webb emerged from the mine shaft, he saw something that made him fall to his knees and weep. Human soldiers in clean uniforms stood guard around the mine entrance. Their weapons were pointed at Zephyrian guards, who sat on the ground with their hands bound. "You are safe now," said a young human woman wearing the insignia of a medical officer. "My name's Dr. Linda Foster. We are here to take you home." "Home?" Marcus asked through his tears. "We do not have homes. We are slaves." "Not anymore," Dr. Foster replied gently. "You are free citizens of the Human Federation. We have come to take you back to human space." Across the planet, similar scenes played out in dozens of labor camps and slave facilities. Human soldiers moved with quiet efficiency, freeing their enslaved brothers and sisters while treating alien civilians with professional courtesy. Governor Krellenith finally understood what was happening when human soldiers entered his command bunker. They did not shoot him or beat him. Instead, they helped him to his feet and offered him medical attention for his injuries. "I am Captain Nancy Wilson of the Human Liberation Army," said the officer who led the soldiers. "You are under arrest for crimes against humanity. You will be given a fair trial, according to human law." "This is impossible," Krellenith stammered. "Humans are extinct. You cannot have technology this advanced." Captain Wilson smiled coldly. "We had 2,000 years to think about what we would do when we came back. Every day of slavery our people endured. Every child born in chains. Every life lost in your mines. We remembered all of it. The liberation of Altair sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy. Within hours, reports flooded in from other star systems. Human fleets had attacked 50 different worlds simultaneously. Every former human colony was under assault. On Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council met in emergency session. The delegates sat in stunned silence as they listened to reports from across their territory. The humans were not just fighting a war. They were reclaiming an Empire. Ambassador Delcar read from a datapad with trembling hands. "Epsilon Eridani has fallen. Tau Ceti is under siege. Wolf 359 has been completely liberated. The humans are moving faster than we can respond. How many ships do they have?" Demanded Ambassador Kethver. "We estimate at least 500 combat vessels," Delcar replied. "But they could have more. In reserve. They have been planning this for centuries." Admiral Vexthal struggled to his feet, his mechanical legs whirring softly. "We cannot fight them," he said quietly. "They are not the same species that existed 2,000 years ago. They have become something new, something designed for war." The chamber erupted in angry voices as delegates argued about surrender terms and defense strategies. But their arguments were interrupted by a transmission that appeared on every screen. In the room, a human woman appeared on the displays. She was middle-aged with gray hair and kind eyes, but her voice carried the authority of absolute power. "I am President Nicole Adams of the United Human Federation," she said. "I am speaking to you from Earth, humanity's homeworld. We have returned to reclaim what was stolen from us during the collapse." The delegates fell silent as the human leader continued. 50 human worlds have been liberated in the past 72 hours. 3 billion humans who lived as slaves are now free citizens. We did not start this war, but we will finish it. President Adams paused, letting her words sink in. Any species that returns human territory peacefully will be treated with respect and dignity. Any species that continues to hold human worlds or human slaves will face the full military might of humanity. We have waited 2,000 years for justice. We will not wait any longer. The transmission ended, leaving the council chamber in absolute silence. Ambassador Delcar was the first to speak. "What do we do now?" Admiral Vexthal looked around the chamber at the frightened faces of his fellow delegates. "We learn to live in a galaxy where humans are no longer myths," he said. "And we pray they are more merciful than we were." Outside the council chamber, emergency meetings began as species representatives contacted their home governments. The age of galactic peace was over. Humanity had returned, and they had brought the reckoning with them. The emergency session of the Galactic Council lasted for 18 hours. Delegates argued, shouted, and demanded answers that no one could provide. In less than 2 weeks, human forces had destroyed over 300 alien ships across 12 different star systems. Ambassador Delcar stood at the center of the chamber, his hands shaking as he held the latest battle reports. "They are not fighting like any species we know," he said. "Their ships appear from nowhere. They strike without warning. Then they vanish before we can respond. How many fleets do they have? Asked Ambassador Kethver. We do not know, Belcar replied. Our scouts report seeing human ships in 30 different systems. But the same ships might be moving between systems faster than we can track them. Admiral Vexthil entered the chamber on mechanical legs. The doctors had saved his life, but his injuries were severe. Half his face was covered with artificial skin, and his left arm had been replaced with a mechanical limb. I fought them, Vexthil said in a voice damaged by smoke and fire. Their weapons are unlike anything in our databases. They do not use energy. They fire solid metal at impossible speeds. Our shields cannot stop them. The chamber fell silent as the wounded. Admiral continued. But their weapons are not their greatest advantage, Vexthil said. They fight like a pack of hunting animals. They share information instantly. They move as one mind controlling multiple bodies. I have never seen coordination like it. On Earth, President Nicole Adams stood before a wall of displays in the underground command center beneath Denver. The displays showed star maps, battle reports, and intelligence gathered from captured alien ships. Around her, military officers and scientists worked at computer terminals. How many ships are ready for full deployment? President Adams asked. Admiral. Jack Turner consulted his data pad. 214 combat vessels are fully operational. Another 150 will be ready within 6 months. And the aliens? Intelligence suggests they are mobilizing over 2,000 ships, Turner replied. Every major species is contributing vessels to a combined fleet. President Adams studied the tactical displays. Earth had spent 5 centuries rebuilding, but they had done it carefully and quietly. The human population was only 8 billion people spread across 50 hidden colonies. Against the trillions of beings in galactic civilization, humanity was vastly outnumbered. Are we sure about this path? Adams asked. We could negotiate. Return to the shadows. Wait for a better opportunity. Admiral Turner shook his head. They enslaved 50 human worlds. 3 billion of our people died during the occupation. The survivors have been slaves for over 2,000 years. We cannot abandon them. Dr. Rachel Green approached with a data tablet in her hands. She was the head of the intelligence division and had spent 20 years studying alien technology and tactics. We have completed analysis of the captured alien ships, Dr. Green reported. Their technology is actually inferior to what humans developed before the collapse. They have made almost no advances in 2,000 years. How is that possible? President Adams asked. They became comfortable, Dr. Green explained. No major wars. No pressure to innovate. They have been using the same ship designs and weapons for centuries. While we have been rebuilding and advancing, they have been standing. Still, Colonel Ben Hayes entered the command center carrying a sealed briefcase. He was a thin man with graying hair and cold eyes. He commanded the human special forces units that had been infiltrating alien worlds for decades. Operation Rolling Thunder is ready to begin, Colonel Hayes reported. We have agents in place on 47 of the 50 occupied human worlds. Local resistance groups are prepared to act on our signal. President Adams looked at the star map, showing the 50 red dots that marked former human colonies. Each dot represented a world where humans lived as slaves, working in mines and factories for alien masters. Their children had never known freedom. What kind of resistance do we expect? Adams asked. Most of the alien garrison forces are poorly trained police units, Hayes replied. They have never faced organized resistance. The biggest challenge will be protecting civilian populations during the liberation. Admiral Turner activated a 3-dimensional display showing the Altair system. The star system had once been called New Boston, home to 12 million humans. Now it housed the regional capital of the Zephyrian Empire. We start with Altair. Turner said. It is the most heavily defended system, with over 60 alien warships and orbital defense platforms. If we can take Altair, the other worlds will surrender quickly. How do we attack such a defended position? President Adams asked. Turner smiled grimly. We do what humans have always done best. We adapt. The Unzi Vengeance led a battle group of 30 human warships toward the Altair system. The fleet moved through hyperspace in complete communication silence, following routes that avoided all known alien sensor networks. Captain Dan Wright commanded the Vengeance from his bridge high above the ship's massive hull. The vessel was humanity's newest battleship, built specifically for fleet combat against multiple opponents. How long until we reach Altair? Wright asked his navigation officer. 18 hours, sir, Lieutenant Corinne Bell replied. The alien defense fleet is maintaining standard patrol patterns around the system. Good. That means they do not know we are coming. In the intelligence section, Commander Sarah Blake studied the latest reconnaissance data. The aliens had turned New Boston into a fortress world, with defense satellites and missile platforms protecting the major cities. 3 million humans on the surface, Blake reported to Captain Wright. Most are working in mining operations and manufacturing plants. The alien population is only about 200,000, mostly concentrated in the capital city. Rules of engagement? Wright asked. Protect human civilians at all costs, Blake replied. Alien military targets are fair game. Try to capture alien leaders alive for intelligence purposes. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Altair system. Immediately, alarm signals began broadcasting from the alien defense stations. Governor Krulinoff had commanded the system for 15 years and had never seen ships like these. Unknown vessels, identify yourselves immediately, came the transmission from the Alien Command Center. Captain Wright opened a communication channel to the entire system. His voice was calm and professional as he delivered humanity's declaration. This is Captain Wright of the United Nations ship Vengeance. You are occupying territory that belongs to the human species. All human civilians on the planet's surface will be evacuated immediately. Any interference with this operation will be met with lethal force. Governor Krulinoff laughed when he heard the transmission. Humans are myths, he told his staff. These must be pirates using stolen ships and false identification. Sir, our sensors show 30 unidentified vessels approaching at high speed, reported his tactical officer. Their design does not match any known species. Then we will add them to our databases after we destroy them, Krulinoff replied. All ships, weapons free. Destroy the intruders. The alien defense fleet moved to intercept the human ships. 60 alien vessels formed a battle line between the humans and the planet. Energy weapons charged and missile tubes loaded as the two fleets approached each other. Captain Wright watched the alien formation on his tactical display. They were using the same outdated tactics that had failed against human forces in every previous battle. All ships implement attack pattern Delta, Wright commanded. Show them how humans fight a real war. The human fleet split into 6 groups of 5 ships each. Instead of forming a battle line, they spread out across 3 dimensions of space. The aliens found themselves facing attacks from above, below, left, right, front, and behind simultaneously. The battle for Altair began with a massive kinetic bombardment that shattered the alien battle line in the first 30 seconds. Human ships moved through the debris field like dancers, their weapons firing with mechanical precision. On the planet's surface, human slaves looked up at the sky as explosions lit up the darkness. For the first time in 2,000 years, they saw their own species' warships descending through alien skies. The liberation of humanity's lost worlds had begun. The news of Task Force Omega's defeat reached the Galactic Council within 6 hours. Emergency communication channels buzzed with panicked reports from across the galaxy. Admiral Vexthal's flagship limped back to Confederation space with half its crew dead and its weapons destroyed. On Nexus Prime, the council chamber filled with frightened delegates. Ambassador Delcar paced nervously in front of his seat. His blue skin had turned pale with worry. Impossible, Delcar kept repeating. Humans are myths. They cannot exist. They cannot have ships that advanced. Ambassador Kethvar studied the battle reports on his datapad. The images showed human vessels moving through space in ways that defied everything the galaxy knew about. Space combat. The ships twisted and turned like fish swimming through water. These recordings show 3 human destroyers defeating 12 of our best warships, Kethvar said quietly. Their weapons ignore our shields completely. Their ships move faster than anything we have ever seen. In the medical bay of the CNS Dominator, Admiral Vexthal lay in a healing tank with severe burns covering half his body. The human boarding party had been professional but ruthless. They had taken every piece of technology they could carry and captured 20 alien officers for questioning. Dr. Meltoff, the ship's medical officer, studied the scan results from the human weapons. The projectiles were simple iron rods, she told Commander Yelenex. No exotic materials, no energy fields. Just metal moving very fast. How can something so simple be so deadly? Yelenex asked. Because we forgot that the universe has rules. Dr. Meltoff replied. Energy can be deflected. Matter traveling at light speed cannot be stopped. 20 light years away, the UN's defiant docked with a massive space station hidden in the shadow of a gas giant. The station had been built in secret over the past 50 years. It served as the forward command post for the human return to galactic space. Captain Jake Morrison walked through the station's corridors toward the briefing room. The walls were lined with displays showing star maps and tactical information. Human officers moved with quiet efficiency, preparing for the next phase of their plan. In the briefing room, Morrison found Admiral Jack Turner waiting for him. Turner was a tall man with gray hair and intelligent eyes. He had commanded the human fleet for over 20 years, preparing for this moment. Excellent work, Jake, Admiral Turner said. The galaxy is starting to realize that humans are not myths. They fought like beginners, Morrison replied. Their ships are powerful, but their tactics are outdated. They form lines and exchange fire like ships from ancient Earth. Admiral Turner activated a holographic display showing the local star systems. Red dots marked alien fleet positions. Green dots showed human ships moving to intercept them. The aliens are sending more fleets to investigate, Turner said. 6 task forces are heading toward systems where we have been active. They want to test our capabilities. How many ships are we facing? Morrison asked. Over 200 vessels in total. Battleships, cruisers, destroyers, and support craft. The largest fleet the galaxy has assembled in over a century. Morrison studied the display. The human fleet had only 47 combat ships ready for action. The numbers were heavily against them. Do we retreat and wait for reinforcements from Earth? Morrison asked. Admiral Turner smiled coldly. No, we show them what happens when you corner a pack of wolves. The first alien reinforcement fleet arrived at the Kepler system 3 days later. Commander Rixtal commanded 15 heavy cruisers and 30 destroyers. The fleet moved in a standard wall formation, expecting to find primitive pirates hiding among the asteroids. Instead, they found empty space and silence. Where are they? Rixtal demanded from the bridge of his flagship. Sensors show no contacts in this system. Perhaps they fled when they detected our approach, suggested his tactical officer. Begin a full sensor sweep, Rixtal ordered. Check every asteroid, every moon, every piece of debris. They have to be hiding somewhere. The alien fleet spread out across the system, searching for their invisible enemies. They found nothing but empty space and cold rocks floating in the darkness. Commander Steve Parker watched the alien ships from the bridge of the Uns Defiant. His ship hung motionless in the shadow of Kepler's largest moon, completely hidden from alien sensors by advanced stealth technology. "They are looking for us in all the wrong places," said Lieutenant Amy Foster from her communication station. "Let them search," Parker replied. "When they get tired and drop their guard, we strike." The alien fleet spent 8 hours searching the system. Commander Rickstall grew frustrated as his ships found nothing but empty space. Finally, he ordered his fleet to form up for departure. "Maintain search pattern while we exit the system," Rickstall commanded. "If these humans exist, we will find them. Eventually." That was when the human attack began. The UNS Shadowhawk appeared first, rising from the shadow of a small asteroid where it had waited for 12 hours. Captain Ryan Bell's ship fired a full spread of kinetic missiles at the alien formation's rear guard. The missiles were different from the previous weapons. Instead of single projectiles, each missile carried hundreds of small metal fragments that separated just before impact. The fragments struck 3 alien destroyers simultaneously, shredding their hulls like tissue paper. Before the aliens could react, 2 more human ships revealed themselves. The Uns Retribution and Uns Defiant attacked from opposite sides of the alien formation, their weapons firing in perfect coordination. Captain Lisa Kane had positioned her ship below the galactic plane, where alien sensors rarely looked. Her attack caught 4 enemy cruisers completely by surprise. The kinetic rounds punched through their hulls and exploded their reactor cores. Commander Parker brought his ship up and over the alien formation, attacking from above. His weapons targeted the command ships, destroying communication arrays and sensor systems. Within minutes, the alien fleet was blind and unable to coordinate their defense. "What is happening?" Commander Rickstall screamed as his formation fell apart around him. "Where are they coming from?" Contacts appearing from all directions. His sensor operator replied, "They are using some kind of stealth technology we cannot detect." The human ships moved through the alien formation like sharks through a school of fish. They appeared, fired their devastating weapons, then vanished back into the darkness before the aliens could target them. The battle lasted only 23 minutes. When it ended, 37 alien ships had been destroyed or disabled. The remaining 8 vessels, including Rickstall's flagship, surrendered immediately. Captain Parker opened a communication channel to the surviving alien ships. "Commander Rickstall, this is the human fleet. You have entered territory that belongs to humanity. Your vessels are surrounded, and your weapons are useless against us. Please," Rickstall begged, "we surrender. Do not destroy us." "Your surrender is accepted," Parker replied. "Prepare to be boarded. You will be returned to your people with a message. Tell your leaders that humanity has returned to reclaim what was stolen from us. Any species that resists will face the consequences." As human boarding parties moved to secure the alien ships, Admiral Turner received reports from 5 other star systems. Similar battles had taken place across a 50-light-year area. In every case, human forces had defeated much larger alien fleets using superior tactics and technology. The galaxy was learning that humans were not myths or legends. They were predators who had spent centuries perfecting the art of war. And they had very long memories about the worlds that had been taken from them. The message was clear. Humanity had returned, and they were not interested in negotiating. Admiral Vexthul stood on the bridge of his flagship, the CNS Dominator. The massive ship was 3 kilometers long and carried enough firepower to destroy a small planet. Around it, 11 other warships moved in perfect formation through the air. Darkness of Space. Task Force Omega represented the combined military might of 6 different species. Each ship carried the latest plasma cannons, quantum torpedoes, and energy shields. The fleet had never lost a battle in over 20 years of service. "Sir, we are approaching the K-447 system," reported Commander Yelenex from the navigation station. The insect-like officer's multiple eyes focused on his displays. Long-range sensors show nothing unusual. Vexthal nodded. 3 more merchant ships had vanished in this system over the past week. The attacks always happened near the asteroid field that orbited the system's dead star. If pirates were hiding there, Task Force Omega would find them and destroy them. "All ships maintain formation," Vexthal ordered into his communication device. "Begin deep scans of the asteroid field. I want every rock larger than a fighter craft examined." 20,000 kilometers away, Lieutenant Commander Amy Foster watched the alien fleet approach on her tactical display. The Uns defiant hung motionless. Between 2 large asteroids, its hull painted black to blend with the darkness of space. 12 ships, Amy reported to her captain. "The big one in the center looks like a dreadnought class. Probably their command ship." Captain Jake Morrison studied the enemy formation from his command chair. He was a quiet man in his 40s, with gray hair and steady hands. He had spent 15 years training for this moment. His crew of 60 humans had practiced this battle scenario hundreds of times in simulation. "Signal the Retribution and Shadowhawk," Jake ordered. "Prepare for engagement. Remember, we want prisoners from the command ship. Everyone else is fair game." The Uns Retribution floated silently on the other side of the asteroid field. Captain Lisa Kane watched her displays as the alien ships moved closer. She was younger than Morrison, only 32, but she had earned her command through skill and determination. "Their sensors are getting stronger," reported her science officer. "They will detect us in approximately 10 minutes. Then we attack in 9 minutes, Lisa replied calmly. The 3rd human ship, UNS Shadowhawk, was the smallest of the 3 destroyers. Captain Ryan Bell had moved his vessel to the edge of the asteroid field, where it could escape quickly after. The battle began. "Amy, are you recording everything?" Ryan asked his communications officer. "Yes, sir," Lieutenant Amy Foster replied. "Earth Command will want to study their tactics and weapons." On the bridge of the Dominator, Sensor Operator Colvin suddenly straightened in his chair. "Sir, I am detecting unusual energy readings from the asteroid field. 3 distinct sources." Admiral Vexthal moved to look at the sensor display. "Pirates. Probably. Small ships trying to hide among the rocks. Weapons free. Destroy anything that moves." Before Colvin could respond, the first human ship revealed itself. The Uns Retribution powered up its engines and weapon systems simultaneously, appearing on alien sensors like a ghost materializing from nothing. "Contact," Colvin shouted. "Unknown vessel bearing 27 Mark IV. It is moving toward us at high speed." Admiral Vexthal smiled coldly. One small ship against his entire fleet was suicide. "All ships, target that vessel and destroy it." Captain Lisa Kane waited until the alien ships began turning toward her before giving the order that would change galactic history forever. "Fire," she said quietly. The UNC Retribution's main guns fired in perfect sequence. But these were not the energy weapons the galaxy was used to. These were kinetic weapons, simple metal rods, accelerated to nearly the speed of light by magnetic coils. The first projectile struck the CNS Devastator, a heavy cruiser on the left side of the alien formation. The metal rod punched through the ship's energy shields as if they did not exist. The shields were designed to stop plasma bolts and energy beams, not solid matter traveling at impossible speeds. the projectile tore through the cruiser's hull like paper, destroying power systems and life support in a single devastating impact. The ship went dark immediately, drifting helplessly as emergency lights flickered on its bridge. What just happened? Admiral Vexthul demanded. Before anyone could answer, the second human ship appeared. The Uns Defiant rose from behind a large asteroid, its weapons already charging. Captain Morrison had positioned his ship perfectly to attack the alien formation from the side. Second contact, Colvin screamed. Another unknown vessel. It is firing. The Defiant's weapons were different from the Retribution's. Instead of single large projectiles, Morrison's ship fired thousands of smaller metal fragments in a spreading pattern. The fragments moved too fast for point defense systems to track, and too small for energy shields to stop effectively. The metal rain struck 2 alien ships simultaneously. The fragments tore through hull plating and severed power cables. One ship lost its main engines and began spinning out of control. The other lost its weapon systems and half its sensor arrays. Admiral Vexthul watched in horror as his perfectly ordered formation fell apart. What kind of weapons are those? Our shields should stop everything. The projectiles appear to be solid matter, sir, reported his science officer. Our shields are designed for energy weapons. They cannot deflect physical objects at those velocities. Then, target those ships with everything we have. Vexthul ordered. All vessels concentrate fire. But the human ships were not staying still like proper warships should. Instead of forming a battle line and trading shots, they moved like living creatures. The Uns Defiant dove below the galactic plane, while the UNS Retribution swung wide to the right. Both ships used unpredictable acceleration patterns that made targeting nearly impossible. The third human ship, the Shadow Hawk, finally revealed itself by attacking the rear of the alien formation. Captain Ryan Bell had waited for the perfect moment to strike. His ship appeared behind the alien fleet and immediately fired on their engines and communication arrays. "Sir, we have lost contact with 3 ships," Commander Yelenex reported. "The enemy vessels are jamming our communications." Admiral Vexthul had commanded fleets for 50 years, but he had never faced an enemy like this. The human ships refused to fight properly. They would not hold position and exchange fire like civilized warriors. Instead, they flowed around his formation like water around rocks. "Order all ships to break formation," Vexthul commanded. "Individual combat protocols. Each captain chooses his own targets." But breaking formation only made things worse. The human ships had been designed to fight multiple opponents at once. As soon as the alien vessels spread out, the humans began hunting them one by one. Captain Morrison coordinated the attack from his bridge. "Lisa, take the 2 ships on the left. Ryan, handle the 3 vessels trying to escape. I will deal with their flagship." The battle lasted only 18 minutes. When it ended, 9 alien ships had been destroyed or disabled. The remaining 3 vessels, including Admiral Vexthul's flagship, had suffered severe damage and were requesting permission to surrender. Captain Morrison opened a communication channel to the alien fleet. His voice was calm and professional, as he spoke the first official words from humanity to the galaxy in over 2,000 years. "Admiral Vexthul, this is Captain Morrison of the United Nations ship Defiant. Your surrender is acknowledged. Prepare to be boarded for prisoner transfer. Any resistance will be met with lethal force. Welcome back to human space." The massive doors of the Galactic Council chamber slid open with a soft hiss. Ambassador Kethver walked through them on his 6 legs, his blue skin showing patches of nervous sweat. The other alien delegates turned to look at him as he entered. The chamber fell quiet. Kethver had never liked speaking to the full council. Today would be worse than usual. He carried news that would frighten every species in the galaxy. For 3 months, cargo ships had been disappearing along the outer rim trade routes. Not destroyed, not crashed, simply gone, the Zephyrian ambassador moved to the center of the circular chamber. Around him sat representatives from dozens of worlds. Some had fur. Some had scales. Some looked almost like plants. All of them watched him with growing concern. "Fellow delegates," HFY began, his voice shaking slightly, "I bring troubling news from the Outer Rim sectors. Our merchant vessels are under attack by unknown forces." Admiral Vextil of the Confederation Navy leaned forward in his seat. The large reptilian being had commanded fleets for over 50 years. His green eyes showed no fear, only irritation. "Pirates again?" Vextil asked. "We dealt with the last group only 2 years ago. Send 3 cruisers and be done with it." HFY shook his head. "These are not pirates, Admiral. The attacks show military planning. Perfect coordination. No survivors. No wreckage left behind." The chamber erupted in worried chatter. Delegates spoke in dozens of languages, their voices mixing into a wall of sound. The speaker, a tall gray being from the core worlds, called for silence. "Explain what you mean by military planning." The speaker said. HFY activated a holographic display above the chamber floor. It showed a map of the galaxy with red dots marking the missing ships. The pattern was clear and disturbing. 23 merchant vessels have vanished in the past 3 months, HFY continued. Each attack happened at the exact moment when the ships were most vulnerable. During fuel stops, during cargo transfers, when their shields were down for maintenance. Admiral Vextil studied the pattern. His expression changed from irritation to concern. That level of intelligence requires inside knowledge. Someone is feeding information to these attackers. Or they have been watching us for a very long time. HFY replied. The delegates began talking again, their voices growing louder. Fear spread through the chamber like poison. If merchant ships were not safe, then no one was safe. Trade was the foundation of galactic civilization. From the back of the chamber, an ancient voice spoke up. "I have seen this pattern before." All heads turned toward the speaker. Historian Zalmoth was the oldest being in the chamber. The small, wrinkled creature had lived for over 400 years. He served as keeper of the galactic archives and rarely spoke during council sessions. "Please approach, honored historian," the speaker said. Zalmoth moved slowly toward the center of the chamber. In his thin hands, he carried an ancient data crystal. The crystal was older than most of the civilizations represented in the room. "This crystal contains records from the first expansion," Zalmoth said in his creaky voice. "I found it in the ruins of the Keeper's library on Sanctum 4. It speaks of attacks just like these." Admiral Vextil snorted. "The first expansion was 3,000 years ago. What could ancient pirates teach us about modern problems?" "These were not pirates," Zalmoth replied. He activated the data crystal, and ghostly images appeared in the air above the chamber. The images showed ships unlike anything the current galaxy used. They were sleek and deadly, with smooth curves that reminded viewers of ocean predators. The vessels moved through space with a grace that seemed almost alive. "According to these records," Zalmoth continued, "these ships belong to a species called humans. They appeared during the early expansion period and proved to be exceptional warriors." Several delegates laughed at the word humans. It was an old legend, a story told to children. Humans were supposed to be a myth, like dragons or magic. "Humans are not real," Ambassador Delcar of the Hegemony said with a dismissive wave. "They are stories made up by primitives to explain things they did not understand." Zalmoth S. Ancient eyes grew hard. These records suggest otherwise. According to the archives, humans were very real. They built an empire that spanned hundreds of worlds. Their technology was advanced beyond anything we have today. If they were so powerful, where are they now? Admiral Vexthal asked. The records are incomplete, Salmoth admitted, but they speak of a great catastrophe called the Collapse. Human worlds went silent one by one. Their ships stopped appearing in space. Most assumed they had destroyed themselves in some war. Because they never existed, Delcar insisted. Humans are myths, stories, legends told by species too primitive to understand real science. While the council argued about myths and legends, Captain Ryan Bell sat in the cramped bridge of the UNS Shadowhawk. His ship hung in empty space, hidden by advanced stealth technology that the galaxy had never seen. Ryan was 35 years old, with brown hair and calm blue eyes. He had spent his entire adult life preparing for this moment. He and his crew watched the council session through cameras they had secretly placed in the chamber weeks ago. They think we're myths, said Lieutenant Amy Foster, Ryan's communications officer. She was a young woman with red hair and a quick smile. That might actually work in our favor. Ryan nodded as he recorded every word the alien spoke. The intelligence would go directly to Earth Command within the hour. Humanity had spent 500 years rebuilding in secret. They had watched the galaxy from the shadows, learning alien weaknesses and developing new technologies. Let them think we're myths, Ryan said quietly. Myths can't hurt them. Myths don't have weapons. Myths don't remember the worlds that were stolen from us. On the bridge display, the galactic map showed 50 star systems marked in red. Those had been human colonies before the collapse. Now they were occupied by the same species sitting in the council chamber, arguing about whether humans had ever existed. Soon, the galaxy would learn that some myths were real, and some myths had very long memories. The council session continued for 3 more hours, but reached no conclusions. The delegates agreed to increase patrols along the trade routes. They would install better sensors on merchant ships. They would offer rewards for information about the attackers. None of them suspected that the attackers were already among them, watching and listening to every word. As the session ended and the delegates filed out of the chamber, historian Zal Moth remained behind. He stared at the ancient data crystal in his hands and wondered if the galaxy was ready for the return of a species that had never forgotten how to fight.